What's up with the attitude, Bobby? We got a world title match. We need to sign on the dotted line here.
My attitude? You have to actually ask me what's wrong with my attitude? Huh? You have to actually ask that question to me? Huh? Are you stupid? Are you stupid, Sting? This right here, this is my problem. What's inside this right here, this little contract that you've written up is my problem. Because you see, Sting, in here it states that if somehow, some way, I happen to lose on Sunday to Austin Aries, that I don't get another chance at the World Heavyweight Championship as long as he's the world champion. Well, let me tell you something, Sting. I ain't signing nothing. Because here's the deal. You've had a problem with me since day one, haven't you? Ever since I became the World Heavyweight Champion, since I became the longest reigning World Heavyweight Champion, you've had a problem with me. You've tried to stick it to me. You've always tried to one-up me, haven't you, Sting? Even to this very second, even to this very day, you've tried to stick it to me, even after his fluke victory over me last month. You're still trying to one-up me, aren't you, Stinger? Well, guess what? The games are over. No more one-upping Bobby Roode, because Stinger, I'm one-upping you. Because unless this literature changes in this little contract of yours, you're not going to have a main event on Sunday. What do you think about that, Sting? Huh? Who's one-upping who that? No. Bobby Roode. Enough. And moaning and whining. You know where I come from originally is Wisconsin. And you know we have a little saying for people like you. Maybe you need a little bit of cheese with your wine. Funny. That's real funny. You see me laughing? You know what's funny, Bobby? You know what is funny? For a man who is so convinced that my victory was a fluke, for a man who is so convinced that he's going to beat me on Sunday, you're awfully concerned about a rematch clause, aren't you? See, you know why? Because you know the same thing that these people know, and you know the same thing that I know. I've got your number. You don't know nothing. You got nothing. You know what? Listen, I aim to please. I don't want to give you any more reasons to sit up here and throw little temper tantrums. So if this contract, if this is your problem, guess what? We don't need that contract. We don't need it. No, we can be two gentlemen. We can make a verbal agreement right here in front of Sting, in front of the whole world. So I tell you what, here's what I'm proposing. If you're hung up on this rematch clause, we'll make this real simple. When I beat you on Sunday, Bobby Roode, and I will, you will not receive a rematch against me. However, if somehow, some way, you're able to fluke your way and beat me on Sunday, I will waive my rematch clause against you. Which means on Sunday, for one last time, Austin Aries versus Bobby Roode for the World Heavyweight Championship. Winner takes all, no rematches. That's my stipulation. Now you got nothing to bitch about. So let's shake and make this happen.
Deal here or not? Is this a verbal agreement in front of millions of people and everybody watching right now? You just sold the bar, bro. You just sold the bar. You fluke. Hey. Shake on it. Shake on it. Come on. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a deal. We got a match. One will walk out the champion, and the other one will never get a rematch. If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232. or 888-922-2149.
The tower of power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, holy yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Really? Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you with a ton of stuff to talk about on this week's Pro Wrestling Weekly. A litany of news. We'll get right into the breaking news first before we even get to what you just heard on the audio clip from last night in the land of WWE. Manager AW has been released by the company, according to WWE.com. Of course, AW getting into a little bit of verbal trouble a week and a half ago on Raw, making an allusion to Kobe Bryant and his incident, we'll say, out in that Colorado hotel some 9 years ago, and he's taken a lot of heat for it, and I guess it's kind of surprising that they decided to wait a week to let him go, but he has been let go, and he had some interesting comments on Twitter, and I'll get to those in a second. Of course, joining me here in studio, RC from CompletelyDamaged.com. You were on a couple of weeks ago. Thanks for coming back in. Got you here for the full hour and a heck of a week to come in. A lot of stuff to talk about.
I know. I was definitely shocked when AW got released because, he already apologized about the Kobe tweet that he had, or what he said. Oh, yeah,
the Kobe Bryant statement on Raw.
Yeah.
You know, for those who, of course, missed it, he referred to one of his wrestlers, of course, that he's managing, Titus O'Neil, as being like Kobe Bryant in a Colorado hotel, unstoppable. A little off color, understandably so, and it ruffled a few feathers, especially in the era that WWE's in. But I think more striking is the comments that AW put on Twitter about 18 hours ago, a little less than 18 hours ago. Here's a direct quote. AW Promotions is no more, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your support and hate. It's been a great run. Now I get to do me, which isn't PG. And then he references Titus O'Neil and Darren Young. He thanks them for allowing, he says, thank you for allowing me to speak on your behalf. You guys are the best, and I'm glad to call you my friends. He goes on to say, I've offended the wrong people that taught me how to have attitude. It was the WWE that made me bold, and now it has turned its back on me. Let this be a lesson to up-and-coming talent in the WWE. Don't try and be great like The Rock or Stone Cold. WWE isn't the same. Just be normal, shut up, and be a yes man so you can collect your check and feel like you're special. Hashtag sellouts.
Well, he's got a good point there, I think, from because, WWE, I think they're not sure they want to go attitude or PG, with coming back with the thousands episode of DX saying suck it, and then this, it's like
there's a lot of double standards. A lot of people making reference to even Vince McMahon, the head. It's okay for him to make fun of Jim Ross's Bell's palsy, but and a joke about I don't know what. I guess it's a matter of and you see this all the time with comedy. Where is that line as far as edgy? And I guess in this case, the line obviously has a lot of curves in it as far as who can cross it, when it can be crossed, and things of that nature. And that's what you see here. Now, AW, of course, he has even more to say here. I remember a time when the WWE didn't care about breaking the mold, but now everyone is so afraid of their own shadow. Thanks to the fans who showed me support over the whole Kobe thing, and to those I upset, I apologize again. Remember, it's entertainment, folks. And he closes out, I really do hope Linda wins that election, because if not, then all of this BS has been for nothing.
Strong words.
Of course, referencing Linda McMahon, who is running for Senate in the state of Connecticut, and of course, Linda being the wife of WWE owner and chairman Vince McMahon, which is why over the course of the last few years, the product has taken a less edgy tone and has become, as a lot of people have said, more PG, to try not to offend anybody who could, I guess potentially potential opponents of Linda, trying to get into Senate. We saw it kept her out of office when she ran 2 years ago, and now she's running again. And it looks like she has a strong hold on the Republican primary, but going against the Democratic opponent, it's a little more challenging. But it is a Democratic state, so she obviously has an uphill battle there. Again, for those who missed it, AW, formerly Abraham Washington, real name Brian Jossie, he was let go from the WWE. Future endeavored, as we like to say here on the program.
Definitely.
And a WWE spokesperson told TMZ that very thing, that AW was fired for repeated examples of poor judgment. Quote, unfortunately, Brian Jossie, playing the character of AW, was terminated because he continued to exhibit poor judgment by making offensive and inappropriate comments on live television and on social media.
Well, then you just should take the mic away from him. I mean, you're making him talk on the point like that and just spit out words. Sometimes, it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying about at least a week ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago, that he's kind of like a modern day Jimmy Hart, only Jimmy Hart had a megaphone, but now with technology being what it is, you now have a live, wraparound headset mic that he can take with him to the ring.
Definitely. Now, where do you think the AW goes from here? Do you think he goes on the independent scenes and starts his promotion, or maybe he can go to TNA and be the leader of the Aces and Eights? What do you think?
Well, that would, knowing how WWE is with their non-compete clauses, even though they fired him, he probably has to sit out 90 days before appearing on TNA. And
True.
For something like this, does TNA want to wait an additional 3 months on this storyline, which would put them past Bound for Glory?
That's true.
And put you into November's pay-per-view for a reveal of somebody who, I mean, most TNA fans, a lot of WWE fans barely knew who Abraham Washington was. I mean, he's a manager of a tag team division that has been left in dreck for
how many number one contender matches can we have with the same two teams?
Exactly. That's kind of where we're at. It's almost like how in '97, how you had all of those three-way fights between the Disciples of Apocalypse, Los Boricuas, and the Nation of Domination. All those gang warfare things that you saw pretty much every month for about
Savio
6-7 months. Yeah, Savio Vega and
Eight Ball.
Huh?
They
Skull and 8 Ball and Crush and Chains.
Oh, God, my childhood.
Yeah, I know. That's taking us back quite a ways. But we've got that to talk about. We've got predictions certain to go wrong, and we're going to preview the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view in the hour. We have some interesting comments from Kevin Nash, courtesy of a Grantland interview that we're going to talk about, that's very critical of, the business in general, as well as Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan.
It wasn't PG.
It wasn't PG. I have to clean up the direct quote for it to make air, and I'd like to think I've done a decent job of that, but we'll see. Hopefully I won't get into too much trouble. Also, CM Punk having some comments that got a little bit of scrutiny as well regarding a UFC fighter. It seems like this is the week of various commentary, to say the least. So we'll also get room for your commentary as well on the other side via the phone lines, 215-949-3232 or toll free at 888-922-2149. You can also chime in via Facebook, the Facebook fan page WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. If you're a little shy to get on the air, although you can hardly sound worse than I do, you can take your opinions and thoughts to the computer, and we'll put them out on the air. We see that Mike, the fan champion, has a few things, as well as Ross as well. Got to acknowledge something he put on there. Something a little out of the norm, but certainly something good. We'll get to that on the other side as well. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.